Hello everyone, welcome to the round 15 lockout countdown stream. Unfortunately, my stupid head is covering the timer. Oh no, you can see it just fine. 47 minutes, 10 seconds as I speak. Hopefully you all can see me and hear me okay. What a crazy round. Carnage, as Joshua Hughes says, panic, 100% panic, carnage. Frazzle, bedazzle, confounded, dumbfounded, whatever you want to call it. I have no idea what I'm doing. Jokes. I kind of have a rough idea of what I'm doing, but so much stuff to unpack. So I thought what I'll do at the first kind of 5 minutes of the stream, I've not made moves yet, so I can show you guys who are tuning in what I'm thinking in terms of my thought process. Hopefully that answers some of your questions around some of the big guns like Fifita, Cleary, Dillbags, Cody Walker, John Bateman, Nickera, all those kind of things. Before I do that, let's say hello to people in the chat as always. What will you do? Joshua, Incentia, Adam B, Don J, Harrison Barker, Sean Fitzpatrick, Matt Sherwood, Banks Busa, is that how you pronounce it? Apologies if I've butchered that pronunciation. I'm not going to say that full name, but the first person who messaged in the chat, you know who you are. I don't mind that username, but I probably shouldn't just say it out loud, that's all. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Give the stream a like if you love. Don't even like it for me. Like it if you just love Supercoach and Carnage. I know it does our head in, but this is why I love playing Supercoach, to be honest. This is the fun side of it. The Carnage, what to do, all that kind of stuff. It'd be boring if it was just straightforward, to be honest. So I don't mind that it happens. Not all the time, but every now and then if we get a bit of Carnage, I love it. Anyway, so let's do a quick recap of some of the big news, maybe, if anyone is still wanting to know about. So I guess first one is that I can think about is John Bateman. So Wacko's Whispers has just tweeted out that he expects that John Bateman will play in the middle today, and with Sean Bloor moving to the right edge. So that was something that I've read. Someone tweeted at me before an article about Bateman potentially playing in the middle. It sounds as though that's going to come true. Last week he played a bit of edge, bit of middle. I don't know, maybe they do another mix again. Hopefully they do, because I think playing on the edge means more attacking stats. Playing in the middle means more base stats though. So he's probably going to have a higher floor, but maybe slight less chance of attacking stats. So that's something that is happening with John Bateman. So I guess if you're kind of 50-50 on Bateman or Nickera, I think long term, to be honest, they're so hard to split because they've got very similar draws. I think Bateman is just going to be slightly safer base stat wise. His last 3 games base stat wise have been really strong. It was like 75 last week. If he's getting 65 plus in base power each week, especially if he plays in the middle, the odd attacking stat here or there, he could be averaging 70. So I think he's really good. I still prefer him to Isaiah Papali'i. I think IPAP, just attacking stats wise, it's just not as coming as frequently for Bateman. So what we do, I can see that he has been selected at lock right now. So that's the official team news. This is from Wacko's Whispers though. He said that he expects Bateman to be playing in the middle actually. So I think I'd probably take Wack. He must have got some mail for that to be tweeting it out. He normally doesn't tweet out unless he's got a good idea of something. So I think that is just something to take into account if you are thinking about Bateman. Nickera for sure I think is more likely to have the higher ceiling than Bateman. I think he's more likely to get those 130 scores. We can see it coming potentially. Had a good chat with Tim Moody on Twitter just before I joined the stream, and look, he has the same thought as me. Well, he kind of had more of the thought that Bateman probably is going to have the higher floor, but Nickera will have the higher ceiling. So I think you kind of just take which of the two you prefer. If you're going to end up getting both of them, I'd say get Bateman this week for the matchup and lower break even, and then you can get Nickera next week. So that's on Bateman. On Dylan Brown, so he's been stood down, as I'm sure you're all aware. He's going to be 3 weeks until his next hearing, but that hearing is not going to be to determine, I think, innocence or guilty. I think it's purely just to determine next steps. Just knowing legal proceedings, working with lawyers and court proceedings and whatnot, they take their sweet time. So I don't think Dillbags is going to be playing again in 3 weeks, in my honest opinion. So I think he's a very easy sell if you haven't already. You can obviously hold him for this week and then look to move him on next week, maybe if you get more information. But I think I'd be pretty comfortable trading him out. Cleary out for 6 weeks, nothing has changed there. Fifita, nothing has changed there either. On Joey Manu, real quick, it looks as though the late mail is that Manu may actually be moving to the centres this week, with Sand and Smith for the Roosters coming in the halves. And I'm not overly surprised in the sense that just remembering last week's game against the Bulldogs, that left side attack for the Bulldogs completely tore apart the Roosters' right side. So I think putting Manu out in the centres may just help shore that up defensively against a pretty red-hot Panthers team, especially when they're probably going to be more left side dominant without Cleary. So I think that's going to hurt Manu this week. So I think if you were maybe looking at bringing in Manu, probably good enough to not go for him this week. And if you're umming and ahhing about playing him, that could be the deciding factor for not playing him this week. And it's Sanders Smith sounds like he may be the one kicking goals for the Roosters with Joseph Suaalii out. So that's one thing on Joey Manu. So that's something I'll have to think about as well in terms of my sit v starts. Now, finally on my team. So what I'm probably thinking of doing, I think and Cody Walker. So Cody Walker obviously went off for a slight quad strain at training, didn't finish the whole session. My feeling is that he will play because reading the reports, it sounds as though South's medics, whatever, said they're expecting him to be right for the weekend and that he should be able to play. So I think don't worry about Cody Walker. I don't think you need to panic about, I think if you're not looking to bring him in, if you can do it with your trades, maybe wait until game day. Or maybe just avoid bringing him in this week if there's any doubt. And also he is a potential origin risk too anyway. So maybe just consider that too. But I think if you're someone like with me, coming into today or yesterday, I was pretty set on trading out Fafita and Cleary. But I think with this thing about Cody Walker, I'm thinking I might just sell Cleary and Dylan Brown instead. And maybe just hold Fafita at least for one more week. And next week, if I reassess, if I really want someone like a Nikora, I can make that trade. If I want someone like Nicho Hynes, potentially, I can still make that trade via duels, or maybe I just decide to hold Fafita because I would have sold Nicho Hynes, Harry Grant, Nathan Cleary, Dylan Brown, maybe not a chance of getting back in, but selling quite a few guns, so I might want to get back in. So what I'm thinking about this week is Cleary out, and I know the obvious risk with Moses is that, Moses easily could get recalled for the Blues. My feeling is that Hynes will play. It's either Hynes or Reynolds in my opinion, but we know Freddie is a bit of a lunatic, and so Moses obviously has a very good chance of playing. They've got that relationship playing together with the Lebanon squad, not playing together, sorry, but Freddie coaching him when he was coaching Lebanon, and he obviously trusts Moses. He picked him for that replacement for Cleary, I think it was last season, Game 3. So there's definitely precedent for Moses to play. And look, the way I'm seeing it is that, like, with a low break-even, I think he's got a break-even of like 14. I think this week, if he does actually want to audition for an Origin role, he'll go bonkers this week. And so my feeling is just take the points this week and just deal with it next week if he does get named for the Blues. If he doesn't, I'm fine. Obviously, he covers round 16 and round 19. But if he doesn't play next week, then look, I'll have to reassess. But I have got some thoughts about how I could cover it. And I will captain Moses this week if I trade him in. If I already have Moses, to be honest, you just hold, obviously. Sorry, I will get to questions as well. I do want to just talk through some of my thinking about trades, and hopefully you guys find it useful as well. But for me, I just think the potential for Moses is really high this week. And I know Tim Moody, again, bless him, he was talking so much sense, saying just wait a week. You just don't know what Freddie's going to do. If you can wait a week, then do it. But I'm going to ignore Tim. Sorry, Tim, if you're listening. I'm going to ignore him, and I'm going to still go with Moses because it's just it's a feeling from the gut. I'm going to go with the gut. I think Moses will go big this week. So I want to bring in Moses. So I will be trading him in for Cleary. And what I will be doing, just to cover myself for Cody, I did have the VC Cody, but I don't think I'll be doing that anymore with this slight niggle, is I'll trade Dillbag now, and I'll bring Schuster down to my 5'8", and I'll bring in a second row forward. I think I'll still bring in Bateman. Question, I think earlier just in the chat was about, do we think Bateman still plays 80 minutes? Sean Bloor, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, if he's been playing in New South Wales Cup, I'm not sure, but I would hope that maybe Bateman plays in the middle and then shifts to an edge. Maybe if Bloor gets subbed off, maybe they want Bateman in the middle and then they move him to the edge. I just think the way he's playing, I just still think he'll play, like, even if he plays strictly middle, 65 minutes in the middle, he still might go 65, like 1 point per minute. And so I still think Bateman is the guy I want as well this week. It's very, very tough between him and Nikora. Nikora is running at Grant Anderson, which could be a great matchup on paper. But my first feeling this week was Bateman, and a lot of it was because I was very keen on him last week. I wasn't able to get him last week, and he went well. Maybe that's kind of partly in my thinking too. But I really like his stats. I really like his base stats and things. And look, I know the Sharks are more likely to score more points than the Tigers, so Nikora's chances of attacking stats are higher for sure. But I don't know. I feel like Bateman is kind of becoming maybe a bit of a shining light for the Tigers, and it's a good matchup this week too. So a few reasons there, but I think I will go Bateman. And I'll leave myself the option of maybe going Nickera next week potentially. And if I can't get him, fine. I haven't owned him all season. He's not hurting me too much. Bateman is also slightly lower owned, so I kind of like that too, although he is getting heavily traded in this week. But I think these will be my two moves. And I'll park Fafita on the bench. And I've got 311k, so obviously lots of money in the bank. So what I'll do is let me set up my team as well. So I'm not going to reserve Marnie at this stage just because he is a doubt. I will play Schuster in front of Cody Walker, given that he plays ahead of him in the week. And I think Schuster is a fine play this week as well. Dolphins are leaky and Turbo back. I think Schuster could do well. So I'm happy to play Schuster. I will not vice-captain him, that's for sure. At the moment, tossing up Buller or Isako vice-captain. Part of me does like Buller and just loves the guy, obviously, after there's finally being able to play him for 111. But I think I will go Isako VC. I still can go VC Isako because I've got Jack Howarth, who's enough. He can sub in for someone like a Preston, and I can captain Howarth for a loop if I need to. Preston plays also the last game of the week, so that's fine. What I like about Isako is that Buller did so much last week. So many runs, tackle busts, scored the try. Isako, to be honest, anyone watching, apart from that, he obviously had a couple of line breaks, but that one try, and he got 114. I think, again, shout out to SuperCoach Guns. I'll try to bring up this. He posts an excellent try map most weeks, I think, but I think he's definitely done it this week. Let me try bring it up on screen if I can. Let me do that. So this is his try map, and you can see here, Isako vs Manly looks really tempting. Manly have conceded 13 tries to right wingers, and their defense was a little bit leaky last time out as well. So Isako, I think, just with his ceiling, and he's got a pretty safe floor as well. The Dolphins, we know, can still score points. So I'm kind of thinking Jermaine, I think, will be my VC. Just looking at those numbers was really appealing. And again, if you're thinking Buller, so if you want to compare the Titans, for example, they do concede tries to fullbacks for sure. So Buller can definitely have joy. If you're a Gutherson owner like myself, that matchup there looks really nice with the Bulldogs conceding a lot of points to fullbacks. And even, to be honest, right side halves, I think that's what that is, right side half. They've conceded a few tries there. So again, another reason I like Mitch Moses this week as well. But I think I will go VC Isako. And I'll play Gutho for sure. Keep the reserve on Cody Walker for sure. So I guess for me, the last decision is... I'm not playing Billy Smith. That is for sure. Not against Penrith. Marzu comes in. I'll play with Garrick, despite him playing left centre. Look, Dolphins are leaky. He's the goal kicker, so for sure we'll still play him. So for me, I probably don't need to make this decision today. It would be one of Taruva, Joey Manu, or like Harrison Edwards, for example. I'll put it on Manu for now. Taruva could still be good with Luai maybe taking more of the ball, but Walker Gutherson is pretty much locked in. Sorry, I'll have to play two more reserves, sorry. So it'll be 2 out of the 3 of Manu, Taruva, or Harrison Edwards, or may even be Christian Welch. Probably not Christian Welch, to be honest, but maybe a Reed Marnie, but not sure if I love it with the head knock risk and the risk that he may not play as well. I'd sell for feeder first from Adam. So I think the reason, just a bit more, again, sorry, I know I'm taking a bit of time, but I do want to get my thoughts out because I think hopefully you guys find it useful. The reason why I've decided Cleary and Dillbags, which is a little bit different to what I said earlier in the week, the reason I've changed my thinking is, let's say if Mitch Moses is out next week, let's say he plays Origin, what I can do still is I can trade for feeder to a gun half. Like let's say Mitch is out next week, but Hines is playing. I'll probably want Hines next week. I can do Fafita out, and I can do Schuster to him via the duels, and then I can then switch Katoa to my 5'8", and I can cover Fafita. I can cover halfback by going Fafita to a gun half. I can go Fafita to Nickera. I can go Fafita, I think, via duels to a centre wing because I would do Schuster up, and then I'd bring Manu to 5'8". So for me, to be honest, the reason also Fafita is that Dillbags, I think, look, he could be out for the season. Potentially, we just don't know, but I think there's a chance he could be. Cleary, I think, is going to be out for 6 weeks. We know that. Fafita will still play, I guess, in round 17 and round 18, etc. And it's just him potentially leaking cash. But I guess if I had to hold on to him, I could. And it means I don't have to wait. I don't have to use a trade on him. So that's kind of my thinking. I'll get another week of information. If Nikora killed it and I feel like I want him, cool, I'll just do a straight swap off a feeder to him next week. I can maybe go to a centre wing who takes my fancy. I could go to a 5'8" or a half. It gives me options. So I think that's the reason why I've decided to go with Cleary and Dillbags out, because I still think I can cover Moses next week anyway. I think that's probably it on my team. I don't want to just take up the whole stream talking about my own team. But yeah, Walker and Gutho, easy starts. And I'd only have to decide on Manu and Truva. I am going to the game, the Panthers-Roosters game, so maybe I will just want to play Manu just to see him hopefully tear it up in person. I don't really have any other options apart from Marnie or Edwards. Edwards maybe, but I could just leave it at that. No half or 5'8" to get. Yeah, that's the thing. That I'm more likely to be the only chance I'd get a halfback is if Hines is available, because he's got he's got the Bulldogs in round 16. If Hines is playing next week, he will be the captain choice that everyone will want. And at least I know I've got a way to get to him. I've got heaps of money in the bank as well. So I think I'm still leaving myself flexible. Playing Hosking this week's not fantastic, but look, it is what it is. I can't do anything really about that, I think. And yeah, that's that. Anyway, let's get on to your questions, because I've spent about 17 minutes just talking about mine. So I want to be able to help you guys out too. But hopefully you found all of that spiel useful. And yep, all right, let's get to it. So Don's is asking IPAP or Bateman. I still think Bateman. I think even playing in the middle, if he does seem to shift to an edge, I think I will be hopeful that he still plays on the edge, as in he shifts. And even, let's say he plays in the middle all game. Let's look at the Titans in terms of conceding points to middles. They've conceded 8 tries to middles. That's even more than they have to right side 2 second row forwards. So look, it could still be good for Bateman this week. So anyway, that's my confirmation bias anyway with Bateman. But I can't fault anyone getting Nikora. It is a really tough decision. I tried to think about it as much as I could, but so difficult. Should I play Schuster over Grant? That's a tough one, because Grant has not been looking good in terms of his base stats are down, really, really far down. I think Schuster is a good play this week. Schuster, I think of his few games of sample size that we have of him this season, he's really obviously very up and down. So we've got 2 scores in the 20s, 2 scores in the 50s, and a ton. So on the balance of probabilities, he's more likely to get you a 50 plus than a 20 plus, and it's a good matchup. Grant, 34 the last 2 weeks. Base has also dropped a lot. Look, I would be hard pressed to bench Harry Grant if I had him. I think I'd still play Grant, but it is a tough one. Would I consider Turbo if he's not playing Game 2 Origin? Yeah, for sure. Although, to be honest, I don't think I would be trading to him because I've got Gutho and Buller. But yeah, look, he could be an option at that point. Who are we tipping tonight? Very, very, very tough game to tip. I think on ESPN Footy Tips, I think I've tipped Tigers. It's so hard. Bloody hell. There's too many 50-50 decisions to make this week. Moses, SJ, or Bateman, or Nikora, or trade out for Fafita, or Cleary, or Dillbags. God, it's too tough. I tipped Tigers last week. Obviously, that broke my heart when they fluffed the last play field goal attempt. But we'll run it back. We'll stick with the Tigers. Let me just look at the form guide though. Form guide. Titans have gone 3 losses and a bye in the last 4. Could they surely lose 4 of their last 5 against Tigers at home? Oh, I don't know. That's tough. I'll stick it. I'll leave it with Tigers. Stuff it. Corey Allen will drop out for Manu. Yes, if Manu does go into the centres, then yeah, Corey Allen would drop out. Right wing would be, Pauga would be on the left. Right wing would be, God, I can't even remember my own team's team list. You can see how frazzled I am this week. Just having a look at the right wing for the Roosters. It's Daniel Tupou's back, of course. So Daniel Tupou would probably go on the left. Junior Pauga to the right. Yeah, look, Corey Allen will probably drop out for Manu in the centres. And Sandon Smith would come in the halves. Okay, anyway. See you in Bay 30. I can't even remember where I'm sitting, to be honest, Sean. But yeah, I'll be there on Saturday. Let's see, Tom McCready. Hey man, I still have 2 boosts left and have Fafita, Brown and Cleary. Do I think I should get rid of them all this week or wait 1 week on Fafita? If you're certain on your 3 trade-ins, to be honest, with 2 boosts left, I can get around trading all 3 out. I do have 1 boost left, and I did briefly think about it, but to me it feels better to boost to bring in 3 guns than to boost out 3 guns, if that makes sense. But I think with you, the fact that you have 2, you can make some really big changes as long as I think you're comfortable in the 3 that you're bringing in. If you're unsure and you can wait a week, then yeah, sure, do that. But I don't mind dropping another boost because you have 2 of them. Hey man, trading deal backs for Meaney via Manu at 5'8". Yep, haven't really spoken about Meaney too much. I think this week's a decent matchup. The Sharks can concede points, and Meaney just seems to be super, super solid. Even if the Storm get beat bad, he's still doing okay. Surprisingly, last week, 86 points. He only scored 11 in base. Now, that is somewhat surprising. I wonder if it was just due to the ball not being in play much when the Cowboys were just scoring try after try. But yeah, he's got a 5-round average of 74, and his season average is 74. He's going to be solid. His lowest score this season is 38. You can't really fault that, I guess, right? So, Sharks matchup is good. Tigers in round 16 could be pretty decent as well. Yeah, I don't mind the Meaney trade in for sure, but if anyone was wondering, Meaney or Osako, someone did ask me earlier, I think it was Ian, good follower of the channel, he asked me earlier today, would I go Meaney or Osako if I had to go one of them? Earlier in the week, I said Meaney because he covers round 16, but to be honest, I think if you are okay for 16, I would probably just lean going Osako because he's got a break even of 34. So there's a very, very good chance that he goes up again in price. He'll be even more expensive. And look, he does have a buy again in round 21, but between, to be honest, Parramatta, Broncos, Titans, then Penrith, then the buy in round 21. It's very, very tough. I think this week Osako will outscore him for sure, but I think Meaney might be just the better hold. And maybe you can go Meaney and maybe swap to Osako in round 19, or you maybe hold out until round 21, and then he will play the Broncos and the Panthers in that time. And then on the run home, it's really good for the Dolphins. They've got Bulldogs, Knights, Roosters, Tigers, Cowboys, Warriors. It's a pretty good run home. So I think you can maybe take the bet that he goes down in price, but the way that he's been going, it's very hard to see that happening, to be honest. So I think it's also a money situation. Meaney or Mulatalo? To be honest, long term, I actually prefer Mulatalo because the Sharks really do have quite a good run home. And he scored 51 last week without any tries, and he did fluff a few of them as well. After round 18, the Sharks don't have any more buys as well. Their run home, the only real tough matchups they have on the run home is Penrith and Rabbitohs, round 22-23. Outside of that, though, Dragons, Tigers, Warriors, Manly, Penrith, Rabbitohs, Titans, Cowboys, Newcastle, Raiders. I'm going to want Mulatalo, I think, for the run home. And I think I prefer that to Meaney. He is also a little bit cheaper as well. 66 average, tough. I think I'd go Meaney this week, but longer term, overall, if you can only get one of the two, to be honest, I think I prefer Mulatalo just for that run home. Hosking or Ford for last reserve? Gee, that's tough. There's really only maybe 10, 15 points between the two of them. I'd probably go Ford. I think, even Ford, to be honest, do we know if he's going to play the full 80 this week? Not too sure. I think I'd play Ford, to be honest. I think his minutes just seem a little bit more certain than Hosking at the moment. So, yeah, I'd probably go Ford, to be honest. And I think, look, the Warriors may just be in to have a bit of a, spoil the party mentality this week with Croker's 300th. Yeah, I think I'd just lean Forward in that situation. Benny G, member for 3 months. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, and the super chat, mate. You're too much. You're too good. Schuster or Manu last reserve? Should I get Moses? Look, I kind of mentioned at the top of the stream, the risks obviously there around Moses. But I guess what they say, actions speak louder than words. I'm bringing in Moses this week. I'm captaining him. It's rare that there are weeks where I feel so comfortable about captaincy and whatnot and trade-ins. Look, my gut is just telling me Moses is going to go huge this week. If he doesn't, so be it. But I don't know. I think he will do well. I know you're a Parramatta fan as well, Benny. So maybe that will help you too. Maybe you don't need Moses to do well and you'll be happy. But yeah, look, I'm taking the risk. I'm being bold, as you love. I'm bringing in Moses because I just think this week will be very good. And look, if he plays so well that he plays himself into a New South Wales jersey, look, I may pocket 250, 300 points on the way. So that's my thinking, and I think I've got a plan to potentially cover for him if he does indeed play Origin. And even if Nico's not available next week, look, round 18. I think Tim Williams mentioned this on his Q&A podcast, which is great. Really good point he made is that round 18 when Parramatta have the bye, the Sharks have the Dragons. If Moses is out, you can maybe just switch to Hines at that point as well. So I think there are still options you can do with Moses. I also have saved some trades. I've got 19 trades left after using my trades. So I feel like I can still have enough trades to play around. And in terms of Schuster or Manu last reserve, to be honest, I would actually pick Schuster over Manu. I think the Dolphins matchup is a little bit better for scoring points. And if Manu is indeed moving out to the centres against Penrith, it doesn't feel like a great matchup for him. So yeah, I'd probably just about go Schuster. Would I play Ray Stone or Hosking? To be honest, I'd probably play Ray Stone if he's if he's going to continue to play these good minutes, because his base PPM is actually really good. Last 2 weeks is 64, 54, 54 and 61 in base stats. Like, I think he seems like safe for 50. Hosking, even in 64 minutes, his base was down. And also without Cleary, those attacking opportunities might also just be reduced. So I think I'd probably go Stone, to be honest. I don't love playing Hosking this week. If ideally I could not play him, then sure. But gotta have to do it. For feeder to Hopgood. Yeah, we haven't really spoken about Hopgood. So if anyone hadn't checked out my newsletter, I posted a link on Twitter. I did a little in that post, in that write-up, I did a ranking of 2RS. I had Hopgood behind Bateman and Nikora. Only thing with Hopgood was that, look, we know how much of a beast he is. I feel like if you haven't owned to this point, could you maybe look to antipod him? And also, I guess with Hopgood is the question will still maybe linger about his minutes long term. You just don't know what's going to happen with his minutes moving forward for the long term. In the short term, I think he'll be great still, because I think there's enough forwards out for Parramatta that I think he'll still continue to get good minutes. But at least we'll see what happens with Bateman today playing in the middle. But Bateman could be the same as Hosking there or thereabouts. But I don't mind Hopgood as a trade, and Parramatta have a great run for the next few weeks as well. So yeah, look, not a bad trade-in by any means. So Bateman isn't a good choice this week. I think Bateman is still fine this week, because I think playing in the middle, his base stats will be up. I'm hopeful that he just gets to be able to shift to the edge, because he did the opposite of that last week, where he was on the edge and then shifted into the middle. And I think, as I saw earlier on this try map, middles for Bateman. Middles against Gold Coast Titans. Let me have a quick look. Gold Coast Titans have conceded 8 tries to middle forwards. That's more than any of their other positions on the field apart from left wingers. Pretty good odds for Bateman to maybe score again this week. So I still think Bateman will be fine this week too. Captain Nico or Moses? That's tough, man, because Hines is just a unicorn. Like, honestly, like, he does seemingly nothing and he gets 90 points last week. Moses needs to do a lot to get 90. Could be again his audition for the starting New South Wales number 7 spot. Because we know Moses has got that low game in him, I would probably just still go Nico, because I think the ceiling is equal, if not higher, for Nico. And I think his floor is just higher too. So look, and remember, Hines can play everywhere across the field, but if he pops up on the right-hand side, him and Nico are having a partnership, you've probably got easy line break assists for Hines this week. So yeah, I think I'd still go Hines this week if I had the two of them. Khan Pereira or Warbrick to play? Again, I'm going to keep using this try map. Thank you, Supercoach Guns. I probably need to pay him for letting me, he's not letting me, but I'm hoping he lets me show this. West Tigers to left wingers, only 4 tries all season they've conceded. That's really not a lot. Whereas Warbrick and the Sharks to right wingers, 5 tries. I mean, there's barely anything in it. Warbrick's playing at home, so is Khan Pereira, to be honest. Khan Pereira was up against Nofaluma. I think I played Khan Pereira just about. I think his edge that he's coming up against is a little bit better. A little bit weaker in my opinion. Yeah, I think I would just take Khan Pereira there. What do I think about trading Marnie out for Ray Stone? To be honest, with Marnie, even if I don't play him this week, and even if he's out this week, I'll probably still hold. He does play round 16, does play round 19. You're really not getting a lot of value out of selling him now at 478k. It just doesn't feel nice. So, if you have got say if you've got Marnie and Sonny Luke, condolences by the way if that's your hookers combination, but if you've got that, then sure, I think maybe you can go Ray Stone to shore it up a little bit. But if you're like me and you've got like a Cook or a Robson or a Marshall King, if you're a Robson owner this week and you maybe have to cop an AE at hooker, I'd probably still do it, because I think Robson, if you've got him, you're probably wanting to hold him just for his long-term coverage. So yeah, I think Marnie to Stone, especially at this point of the season, I think now it's also a good time just to keep prioritizing points if you can, which look, Ray Stone may deliver. But that trade, I just don't like. Hooker just doesn't feel like great value, I guess, in terms of the points gain that you'll get out of that move. Raging Bull, really appreciate how much effort you put into this each week. Best Supercoach channel I have found and puts the official channel to shame. Raging Bull, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Yes, look, there is some time and effort that goes into it, but it's all for the fun of it. And I'm happy if you guys find it useful. So thank you so much for that, and really appreciate that donation. Very, very kind of you. Croker or Taruva for last reserve? Oof. I think if you've got Croaks, I think you play him. Of all weeks, play him. I think he's good for still like 60 plus points because he does goal kick as well. So I think I would, because he's got the goal kicking, yeah, I'd probably play Croker as my last reserve from PK Park Skis or Park Skies. And yeah, as Gian says, sneaky player. Yeah, I think if you've got Croker, nothing wrong with playing him this week. I think you'd expect the Raiders to be up for this game for sure. People still own Warbrick and Campera. I know, I traded them ages ago, but people probably had other fires to fix in their team, I guess. Matthew Kell, have a trade left. What would be your decision between Fafita out for Nickera or Brown out for Walker? I think of those two moves, I would probably go the Fafita to Nickera one, because I think Walker, there's a slight doubt with him and he doesn't play next week, whereas Nickera, good for this week, good for next week as well. I know he doesn't play round 17, but yeah, I think I'd probably just go Nickera this week instead of Walker, just because there's a couple of question marks about Walker. Although I'm fully expecting him to play, I would probably just lean away from going VC or C Walker or anything. I did initially have VC Walker. Another thing with Cody as well is that we saw how good of a game he played last week, but he did so much and he still only got 100 points. Granted, he may have got a try assist taken off him that he maybe should have had, but he got 3 try assists, a try, all that 100 points. He does need to do a lot to get a big score. Karaz or Billy Smith as last centre wing? I'd probably go Karaz, I think, because I think Parramatta, despite them being a good team, they are still conceding points. I mean, let's see if I can quickly bring this up. My Supercoach points conceded graphic. I wonder if I can bring this up on the fly. Let me have a quick look-see here. Another reason why I was also thinking of Asako VC over Buller is Manly have been the 3rd worst at defending centre wings. Titans have been the 6th worst at fullback. So data, the try map from Supercoach Guns. Oh man, I could be really annoying on Twitter this week if Asako goes big. Apologies in advance. I could be posting plenty of Asako pictures. Alright, draw difficulty. Okay. Yeah, Parramatta on average. I mean, Parramatta and Roosters, to be honest, Penrith are just by far the best defense in the comp, whereas Parramatta are middle of the table. If you're looking at kind of average Supercoach points conceded, which I think is what we care about. So I think I'd probably still go Karaz. So I can't bring it up on the fly, but I'm looking at the numbers and Penrith's defense is much better. So I'd probably play Karaz. Karaz also probably has better base than Billy Smith, to be honest. I might see you at the game on Saturday. I'm going as well. Or maybe if I bump into people, feel free to say hello. Last reserve, Eli Katoa, Karaz or Schuster? I think I would still go Eli Katoa because I think Sharks' edges are not the strongest. And I think they still can leak points. And I think him and Jerome Hughes have got a pretty good combo. 47 base last week. He scored 59 last week with 1 lie break, but not really doing much else. This is Eli Katoa. Schuster could have we saw when Manly played against, who did they play in the bye week? I can't even remember who they played in the bye week, but Schuster had a great first half, didn't do much second half, and he ended up on 50. So I think Katoa is a little bit safer than Schuster. And what was your other person? Sorry, I'm just trying to find the question again. Sorry, I've missed it. It's scrolled past me. Karaz, that's right, Karaz. Yeah, I think I'd probably go Katoa out of those. Surely mine was an easy play this weekend. Aren't there rumours he goal kicks from Cameron? No, I haven't really heard any of those rumours about him goal kicking. What I've read in late mail is that he'll go to the centres and Sanders Smith on the bench will come into the starting halves, and he's probably the one who's likely to goal kick. So I think, I don't think Manu will be goal kicking. I've never seen him goal kick before. Granted, never seen Sanders Smith goal kick before, but it sounds more likely if the guy playing the halves is goal kicking instead. Sit 1, Grant, Cook or Preston? Oof. Jeez, that's tough. My goodness, you must have a good team, Tom. I'm not jealous of that at all. I mean, Preston's solid. He can get you 60. Cook Cook's got the matchup. Dragons. Grant. Oh my god. Can you bench Harry Grant? Oh, that's so tough. I'm just trying to imagine if it was my team. How would I, like, if I visualize my team, like, what would I do? To be honest, if it was me, I would probably still play Cook and Grant, just knowing the pedigree of them, but I don't love that. I don't love that at all. All right, we've got 12 minutes left. 12 minutes. Okay, everyone go check your teams. Make sure you've got everything set up. And this is definitely a week where if you can, try to be flexible, get your duels all sorted, because there could be late outs, I guess, with Cody and new information that may change other things as well. At the moment, I'm set up for today just fine. I've decided to get in Bateman, so he's in there. And I've decided to keep Fafita, so I guess Fafita is going to stay this week as well. Yeah, anyway, but yeah, make sure your team's set up okay for today. Kolomatangi or Bateman? I think Bateman still, because I think he'll play an extra game over Kolomatangi over the next 6, and I do think Kolomatangi is a potential smoky for Origin. South still also have 3 buys left. They have round 16, 20, and I think round 27. Tigers after round 17 have got a clear run home, so I think you can grab Bateman now, and I think you can maybe afford to wait on Kolomatangi. If you're a head-to-head player, maybe a different story, because I think Kolomatangi's probably got a higher ceiling than Bateman, but for a long-term overall player, I'd probably go Bateman. What's my ESPN footy tips? Let us add you. I'll have to check the username. Apologies. Yeah, not sure. Sorry, someone just messaged me something. Let me quickly. Sorry. Okay, just messaging someone. Oh, good. It was about SuperCoach. Don't worry. I wasn't just ignoring you all. I was just trying to get some information. From Mitch Phillips, hey man, thoughts on selling Fifi, Cleary and Dillbacks for Bateman, Nikora and Moses? Would use my last boost to do it. Oh, I mean, those 3 trade-ins are really, really good, but using your last boost, I'm kind of leaning away from doing all 3 out this week. Like, because I'm personally not doing the boost, I'd probably advise to do the same. But I don't. That doesn't mean just copy me. But the reason I'm only doing the 2 of those 3 moves is because I think I do want to have one of those boosts up my sleeve come around 2021 to bring back a lot of guys. Because I've sold Hines, I've sold Grant. Grant questionable if I want to bring him back at this rate, but I'm selling Cleary. I want him back. If I end up selling Fafita, I want him back too. I think a boost trying to get like if I can boost to get 2 of those 3 guys in at the back end of the season, I think that'll be very helpful. So for me, if I were you, I would just encourage to do 2 of them. You've seen that I've gone Moses and Bateman, so that probably tells you what I would tell you to do. But yeah, it's very, very tempting to use that boost, but I think I want to try to be disciplined with it. Would I get Tino? Tino's been killing it, to be honest. I always tend to underrate him, but I do think I would wait on Tino, just because I think just through the whole State of Origin period, I think there's a chance. Look, I mean, he's a gun. He played 59 minutes on the weekend after like a 2-day turnaround and still banged out like 72 in base power, which is ridiculous. And the next 2 games for the Titans are off 3-day turnarounds. So, there's a chance that he still continues to back up. I mean, his last 5 games, 103, 108, 70, 88, 62, 79 even before that. Ridiculous. He's very expensive too. I think I'd still wait. On Tino. From Steezers, is there any merit in holding Cleary, and is it even possible if you own Hines? For sure, I think if you're a Hines owner this week, you have no need, I think, in my opinion, to rush, because I think you can just easily captain Hines this week. I think him and Moses could be equal, to be honest, and you have that information next week to decide. Because my halves were Cleary and Isaiah Katoa, and I didn't really want to play Isaiah Katoa, that's kind of why I've also pulled that move to go Moses this week. Would I play Hosking or Ford? I answered it earlier in the stream. Apologies, it might be someone different, but I said Ford. Dealbacks to who? Darren, I'm probably not going to touch on that because that's completely open-ended. It depends on your duels and stuff, but At 5'8", to be honest, there's not a lot of great trade-ins this week. Ideally, I think I'd use duels instead and get like a second row forward or a centre wing. If you've got Manu, you can get a centre wing via him. If you've got Schuster, you can go second row forward via him. But no, I think, it's a little bit open-ended, so it's a bit hard to opine on that one. Manu, definite sell after round 16. Definite is always hard to say, but look, if he continues, hopefully next week he gets to play at fullback in round 16, and then after that, I think you can probably look to offload him, to be honest. Manu or Ponga, full reserve. Jesus. I mean, Ponga's got the Broncos away. That's a tough matchup. They're really good defensively. I think Penrith are even worse, to be honest, defensively, in the sense that they're the best. That's tough. That's a tough one. I think I would lean Ponga just because he's playing fullback, and if the Knights even score 1 or 2 tries, it's probably a fair chance he's involved. I wonder who's going to goal kick for them, because Hastings wasn't very good for them last couple of rounds, but I think I would just about go Ponga, just because at least he's playing in his normal position, I guess. Thanks for answering my question. No problem, Mitch. Best of luck this round. Yeah, I think we'll need all the luck this week, hopefully. And yeah, sell Fafita or Dylan Brown first. Really, really team dependent, not as I've said, but it is very, very team dependent. I'm personally selling Dylan and Cleary. If you want, at the beginning of the stream, I did mention my reasonings why. Partly was because if I can somehow just manage to just hold on to Fafita, then it's fine, because I'll probably want him back eventually anyway. Whereas Dillbags, I think I'm very doubtful that he'll be back anytime soon. Cleary, I think, is an easier sell too. So that's kind of the reason why I eventually ended up deciding on Dillbags, because I can still also use Fafita next week as a way to trade to basically second row forward, centre wing, halfback, or 5'8", just via duels. Pick 2, Taruva, Hosking, and Schuster. Schuster for sure. Taruva or Hosking, probably Taruva, to be honest. Taruva or Nikorima, fourth reserve. Nikorima's been pretty good. It's pretty Manly are pretty leaky. Nikorima's also playing in the halves this week, and Hamaso is back, which I think will help. I think I play Nikorima, to be honest. I think I play Nikorima. More hands on the ball. He'll get his hands on the ball a bit more than, say, a Taruva. I think with Taruva as well, he's got bloody glue hands. Thongo now back, so the only way Taruva scored playing outside of Thongo last week was because Thongo kicked it, couldn't pass it. Can't use the hands, he has to use the feet. Dillbags to Bateman or Moses. Don't have Cleary. I mean, if you can only get one this week, I have to say Moses. I think the ceiling on him is incredible this week, but obviously the risks are there that he might miss out next week. So I think you just kind of have to make that call if you're willing to take that risk. I am, so I'm going, but I'm also getting Bateman at the same time, so I feel a bit easier answering that question. 4 minutes. We've got 4 minutes. Should I captain Nofaluma? Nah. Okay. Okay. Sorry guys, a little bit distracted. Alright, sorry. Preston, Manu or Preston? I think I'll go Preston. Let's see. Trade in Osaka or Nikora. Oof. I love my boy Jermaine. I guess if you're looking strictly at the next... I mean, I like Osako that he plays 17. I think 16 you'll find is an easy read to cover. I think 17 though might be tough. So maybe Osako for that reason. But yeah, I think Nikora will explode soon enough. Tom J is back. 50 memberships, of course. Had to do it. Here we go again, as Mitchell says. I hope you all have got memberships enabled, because some people weren't able to get the memberships last time. So hopefully you were all able to profit this time if you haven't already. And spam that Tom J what a man emoji if you've just gotten one from him too. Even if you haven't, spam it anyway, because the man is an absolute legend. Is it safe for Cody to be my only playing 5'8" from Broads? To be honest, yes. If I had to make a bet, I would say Cody plays this week. So I think you'll just about be okay. But I'm kind of safeguarding myself with the trades that I did. Amano it won't hurt owning both Hines or Moses unless they both get named. What are the chances both get named? There is a chance with, let's say Moses plays 7 and Hines 14, but I think the Hines 14 experiment was pretty bad. I don't think that'll happen again. So I think the chances of both of them is low. How do I enable, Sean? Sorry, I'm not actually sure how you enable. I think someone has mentioned it earlier in the stream, like a couple of times a few weeks ago, but I'll have to try to find out how. But Tom J, what a man. All right, we've got 2 minutes left. I think we can only do a few more questions, guys, and we're probably going to have to wrap it up real quick. Sai, $2. Oh, thank you so much. Brown to Kolomatangi or Osako have 2 RF stacked. I think you kind of answered your own question. If you've got your 2 RF stacked, Osako is the best centre wing, and he's actually the highest averaging fullback this season. Second row forward, apart from Fafita, they're all much of a muchness, I guess, to an extent. I would go Osako, to be honest. I think he'll go huge this week as well, especially if your second row forward's already well set up. Buller worth a VC tonight? 100%. Buller is definitely worth a VC. I'm just thinking that Osako has a higher chance of going big this week, because Buller did a lot last week at 111. Osako, I felt like, didn't do a lot apart from that one late try, 114. So I think he's just got maybe higher of the ceiling. Found it. Oh, brilliant. Sean, I'm happy about that. Thank you. I'm glad that you found that. Maybe let Blake know in the chat. He's also asked the same thing. Apologies. You can help him out, and I'll answer some other SuperCoach questions. If Moses gets picked, odds are Hines is the 18th man. Would he be 18th man though? I think Matt Burton's a better 18th man, surely. Covers like halves, centre. I'm guessing if you wanted to put Burton at fullback, you could. I don't know. Yeah, tough one. Thanks for the great content. Thank you so much, Mitchell. Is it worth trading Hines in now since Clear is out? Already have Moses. If you already have Moses, Alex, I wouldn't trade in Hines. I think it's a tough enough matchup. And yeah, I think in that case, I would probably wait. Keep your powder dry, I think, on that one. All right, we've got 30 seconds. I think I will end it there. Thank you all for tuning in. Really, really appreciate all those donations and everyone joining me on this Thursday night. Good luck this week. Obviously, it's a super crazy week. So keep those trades fluid and whatnot. Hopefully, everything works out for you. Cameron, Aussies are 3 for 345, just so you know. Unfortunately, due to my heritage, I am an Indian fan for cricket. Don't hate me. I have to be an Indian fan. It wouldn't be acceptable in the house if I was nothing but an Indian fan for cricket. So that's not great for me that they're 3 for 345, the Aussies, but we'll see how we go. Anyway, we'll end it there. Lockouts just passed as well. Enjoy the footy tonight, everyone. Have a great weekend, and catch you in the next one. Oh, we'll quickly answer the question from Daniel. Should I bring in Meany or Buller for dual bags? Sorry, lockouts just happened, but to be honest, I would have gone Buller if I were you, Daniel. So I hope you went Buller just in time. All right. Cheers, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one.